Today on Dirt Road Cred Jeep News, 4 days in a row, we've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, this entire week has been filled with all sorts of product launches. There was even more that we saw yesterday, including some colors on the back end that are going to be coming out for late availability for the 26, as well as everyone asked for it. Let's go through all of those 12 for 12 ducks, give you our predictions on what they mean for what special edition Wranglers are going to come out, and overall just talk about some other Jeep news too. There was some stuff about where you could order certain Wranglers. We're going to break it all down today. 4 days of Jeep news here on Dirt Road Cred. This is crazy for us. Normally you don't have 4 days in a row. Don't worry, we've got some really cool content coming on the builds. Our 41 is still somewhere in Arkansas being shipped back. The Juice is home and we'll be driving that thing around soon. But right away though, this Moab 392 that was released yesterday, of course there was a metric ton of questions online about it. From what we gather, the Moab is a trim for the new Wrangler 392. So the Wrangler 392 is this own trim on the back end ordering guide. The Moab is a package that you can add to it. But on the base, the Wrangler 392 doesn't come with the front locker, the front disconnecting sway bar, and a couple other things. And that's what a lot of people were confused with online. I fielded multiple messages last night from buddies that have 392s and were going, is this a Rubicon? Is it a Willys? What's going on with this? We try to make ours as clear as possible, giving the features, but we'd love to walk around one and really show you what all comes with the 392. Unfortunately though, right now it looks as though you might not be able to get these in non-CARB compliant states. So what I mean by that is there's a host of states throughout the United States, including Pennsylvania, that must meet CARB compliancy, California Air Resource Board compliancy. Anthony still has it grayed out at our local dealership, so he cannot order a 392. If you guys are at a dealership that can order these, let us know down below in the comments what state you're in and if you can order the 392. And then also, if you're at a dealership, we're about to fire up the best dealership affiliate program on our site. We've been working with some things in the back end. If you're interested in that and are at a dealership, drop us an email. We'll leave it down below. So I wanted to just let you guys know that as well. But very interesting with the 392. I'm hoping that it will become compliant to CARB states, much like the Durango that was just released with a 5.7 V8. It took a few weeks and then it gained compliancy in those states. So I believe Anthony can order that one now. So I wonder if the 392 is just, it's got to get retested because it's a different trim. That might make sense. The Rubicon 392 is good, but this is a Moab 392. They probably have to just run it through compliance tests, or they have to be CARB emissions. I don't think mine was when I got mine because I picked it up down south, and there's like a different sticker that goes under the hood of the CARB compliant 392. So who knows? It's all a mess, but we're trying to work through that as we can. The other thing that I wanted to make mention of is the Commando seems to be like, I'm trying to find the information on it. I think the retail price on that's going to be $69,000. I really do. So in other news, my dad actually went on and applied for one. So he's a veteran. I think that would be a really cool vehicle for him to have. Probably way too much power for him. But if we can get it in, we'll definitely have one here and check it out. I don't know when it's coming. We got no email back when we submitted it, but a lot of guys have been asking. You have to go on the Fox website and then hit apply for the Commando. So you enter your information, you enter your branch of service, how many years served, and then just a 500-word kind of little story about why you would enjoy it or why you'd like to have it. So a lot of people were confused. That's how you do it. And then you hit submit and then cross your fingers and maybe you'll get one. But even more stuff besides that coming out on the actually FCA Stellantis Media website, which kind of took me for a loop because I noticed it on one of the forums. What 4 new colors have late availability. So 2 are new. Maybe 2 are new? No, 1 is new. 1 is new, a new color to this. But 4 colors, late availability for the Wrangler. Goldilocks is now confirmed. It says new, late availability. Earl Grey, coming back to the Wrangler. I love that color. Earl Grey is fantastic color. Juice is coming back to the Wrangler. That was a limited run when they did that the first time. So Juice says late availability as well. And then Tuscadero Pink. So Jeep seems to be listening. They're looking at their favorite colors, coming out with some new ones, but how cool would that be if you had all those in addition to that original colors? You'd have like 12 or 13 colors to pick. That would be badass. But for us, we are waiting on Goldilocks. Everything says late availability, which typically means quarters down the road. As they come available, we will let you guys know, but we're sitting here patiently waiting for Goldilocks to drop, which looks like it was on the Moab images on the website. So being that it was on the website, let's talk about the other things on the website, our predictions of what these 12 ducks mean for the next 12 limited edition Jeep Wranglers. All right, guys, so we got the iPad out. I've got Jeep's homepage up, and we're going to go through and kind of walk through what some of these ducks mean, what we think they are, some of our personal speculation. But obviously, a lot of the colors probably aren't going to match what's on the Jeep, or it just doesn't really signify anything. So duck number one, the one that we were released yesterday, signifies the Moab 392. If you look at the duck, it's got a topographic map on it. It's got a black hat, black sunglasses. It's very hot. It's very bright in Moab, so that makes more sense. And then what one of our audience members was saying is that if you look at some of these, they have gold bills on the ducks. They were thinking that that means 392. I would say that that's probably like a decent assumption because that one is a 392, but that's what the first duck means. As we work our way through these, we're going to try and give our best guesses. Go on the website while we're doing this and maybe write your own list, duck 1 through 12, and put your ideas of what they are. I think we're curious to see what you guys think too. One of our other audience members kind of used ChatGPT to help with like the descriptions and put in like fill in these blanks, it's surrounding this, gave it some prompts, and I think it's a really creative idea. This is getting people to guess, so I guess it is one thing to keep you on the site a little bit longer on Jeep. And maybe we'll grab some AI photos, input some of the duck information, and then see what AI pops out just as like our personal guesses. So this is going to be more fun. I don't know, it might take a little bit longer here, but it's more of us just hanging out and kind of seeing what these things mean. Duck number 2, that's an interesting one. So Ryan pulled some code from the back end, which anyone can do by hitting the right click button. And the actual photo was named 85th anniversary. Like that was the JPEG was named that they uploaded into it. So I would guess that this is the 85th anniversary, but also what's confusing to us is we can't tell if it's orange or if it's Goldilocks. And then very confused on what the white top means. Personal guess is when the Jeeps became civilian use, which was back in the late or the early 1940s. I think the first CJ2A was 1946. A lot of them you could option with a white top. So a lot of the Jeeps didn't come with tops, but you could put a white top and they would have white wheels on them. I'm very curious if they're going to put a white top on it, just like they did in the previous year Islanders. They're going to throw a white top, make it Juice or Goldilocks, call it the 85th anniversary. I'm curious on that, but the striping is very unique too. I don't know, there's a lot going on with that one, Ryan. It's a bit confusing, but we're thinking 85th white top and homage back to some retro colors on there. Now, duck number 3, which says is dropping 1/12/26, has a gold beak, so we're going to stay with that idea that this is a 392. But then on the plaid side of it, Ryan's thinking that this is going to be more of a high altitude or a more premium version. I would tend to agree. I think that what they're going to try and do is use the new 392 as a base platform and then add on what they want to. I think it's a very creative move, but they can basically take the 392 and then add on different packages to it. So right now you got to understand the 392 was released, the Moab is a package on the 392. Just like the X is a package on the Rubicon. They can change that to whatever. They could do a Wrangler 392 high altitude, Wrangler 392 Sahara, Wrangler 392 Sport. You know, you can really change that up. They do this in a lot of concepts. We think that the plaid is going to be incorporated into the intersections of the seats. Catskin does a lot of them for their concept vehicles, and I'm actually a huge fan of the plaid too. I think it looks badass. All right, so for the next one, it kind of blurs them out or leaves them as like a 3D render for duck number 4. But February, we're thinking it's the heart of winter. It's very cold, at least here in Pennsylvania and a lot of the northern states. The blue duck with the topograph, so topograph has to mean something. It's got to be some port. I actually think the Arctic edition might have had a topograph. It might have, but it's the Arctic is a certain part of the region. We're thinking that that one with the blue, the white cap, the white bill is going to be some sort of Arctic edition. So making it something that would be cold, it's winter, maybe they'll use the Earl Grey, which is Earl Grey is winter, it's snow, it's all that, and then add in some blues. But there's obviously a topographical map that means something on there. I'm sure if there was a bigger picture, we could upload it into ChatGPT and maybe see where the topography was. But our guess for the February one, duck number 4, Arctic edition. So for March, we're a bit confused just because it says all these vehicles are special edition Wranglers and it doesn't say anything about other vehicles. I'm curious if that was a writing error, but for March, we're going to say March, you march in the military, and it's going to be that middle green and black with the star on the side. The star on the side there is that's just like our invasion star on the hood of our 41, and then it's got a camouflaged hat, and it's the only stern face duck there. So I could see that being a 41 edition. I'm curious on how the orange plays into it. But right now, if we're just looking at Wranglers, that's the only real outlet I could see, because It is green. It's like a moss green, but I don't think there's really anything else. I don't know if it's got the gold bill, but I'm thinking that one's very military style, and that's what we're thinking. That's the 41 edition. All right, now we've got to April. We're thinking it's the duck that's back next to the crate. The reason we're saying this is because at the end of April is Easter Jeep Safari's 60th anniversary. So that was the only one that I could really notice that had any sort of topography on it, just from that blurry image that we're seeing. And it also, I feel like the side of that duck is the fender vent decals on a 392. So I'm thinking some sort of Safari edition, some sort of 60th anniversary for Moab, something like that. And then it has the bronze on there, so maybe it's a 392. And maybe this whole year they're just doing different 392 trims, like they're adding on some different cool stuff to it. But that one is what we're guessing for April. It would make sense. Easter Jeep Safari is in that month, and that was the only one that we could see kind of fitting that narrative. So for May, let's just throw that juice looking one on the left into it. I think that's going to be a juice Wrangler of some sort, maybe a Miami edition, maybe an Islander edition, something. But that one, like, I understand they're saying, like, we've given you subtle clues, but that's like an orange duck. So the only thing I can think of is some sort of juice edition, or that's about it. I don't know where else to put that one, Ryan, really. Like, there's nothing, there's no hat on it, it's just, maybe it's like a very stripped down Jeep, because there's no hat, there's no glasses, there's nothing. It's just a juice. Maybe it's a juice edition. Maybe they're going to copy our juice edition and make their own. But that one we're thinking for May. All right, so for June, I think this is one of the easier ones. This bright one up front, we think is some sort of splash or rewind edition to the Wrangler. Obviously, super bright colors. You've got pink in the hat, which they're re-releasing Tuscadero. White accents on there. I could see something very bright and vibrant. I can't see the side of it yet. So we'll probably revisit this as more ducks get like loaded up into that bottom section. We can see them more detailed, because right now we can't even really tell what they are. But it would make sense to do some sort of retro vibe in summer. June is the perfect time to do that. Maybe a white top or white accents with this Jeep, but that's what we're thinking for June. Splash, rewind, vibrant colors, using some of what they've got in the mix. July edition, the red, white, and blue duck has to be it. It is our 250th anniversary of being a nation, and I think Jeep is going to do a 250 edition. Everything this next year is going to be surrounding in July. We're seeing a lot of patriotic things that are going on throughout the country. I think Jeep is going to follow that up and do some sort of special edition for the Wrangler. I just had Ryan Google it, because I remember a CJ5 had a red, white, and blue with stripes and stars, and it was the Super Jeep. So we'll try and throw a photo up here, but I could see them doing a white base. This one actually, if you zoom in, it has a white and a red stripe right in the middle of it. So I'm thinking something like that, where it is a white Jeep with some stripes, red, white, and blue stripes on there, or maybe a couple colors, but definitely a 250th anniversary Jeep kind of going out. I could see it being like a Super Jeep, because those were rare too. You had to order those, and I could see them really going big for this year. Really going big and really having a cool edition out. But I think a white Jeep with some stripes on it would be really cool. The last few of these, we're starting to get confused. This one's pretty easy though. I think for August they would do more of that military style two-door theme, maybe another version of the 41 or some sort of version of a military theme. Obviously this has got the star on the hat. It's obviously a military Jeep, and maybe it's a two-door Willys. If you looked on the release of the 2026 Wrangler, it said the Willys two-door is going to be able to get the front and rear steel bumpers with the worn winch. Maybe it's some sort of addition to do with that. It's a more militarized, it's got the winch, it's an off-road package, it's ready to go. So that's what we're thinking, but it's definitely some sort of military theme, and it's got a stripe along it as well. So we're just gonna put that one as a military theme for the month of August 2026, and I'm thinking two-door. So we're thinking two-door for that one. So September, we're thinking the duck right to the corner of the box there. I'm guessing the logo on the side is a Spartan helmet. It could be anything, but if you look close at it, it looks like it's got the eye slit. It looks like it's got the hair, the fro going on to the top. And those are typically in white and red, but these are supposed to be like Wrangler trims, and the Spartan Gladiator was in the ring. So maybe they're going to throw a Gladiator in and just that's it. But this is supposed to be all Wranglers. So very curious on that one. I was super confused on what it means. It's a white with almost like a brown vehicle, but it's got that little, I think it's a Gladiator or Spartan helmet onto it. So we'll have to see, but that's what we're putting that at. If it isn't a Gladiator, I don't know what it is for the Wrangler. We're just trying to guess. So once it's bigger and the duck logo's down below, we'll start to give more inference. But that's kind of what we're thinking for that one. Can you guys just tell us what these are? Because this last one, we have absolutely no clue. Ryan calls it the Phantom Edition. Not Fathom, Phantom, because it's Got some bright green. It looks like maybe Earl Grey. Maybe it's like some sort of October spooky season kind of thing. We have no clue. Like this one, white bill, Jeep, if you could just like tell us what these things mean, or maybe launch all 12 of them. I do get it, but this is probably the exact reason, because we're sitting here guessing what each one is and maybe getting some excitement for people up. But overall though, guys, there's 12 of these special release. They say all Wranglers. I kind of think that it's going to be some Gladiators too, but we'll have to see as they are released. Now, one of the neatest things though with Jeep is what they're doing is they're trying to get feedback from the audience base. And I think that if these are all limited run, some of the cooler ones or the more rare ones, maybe we're gonna get some partnerships, I didn't even think of this, with like the Fox on the Commando. Maybe we'll get a partnership with another vehicle style builder or a brand that Jeep has worked with in the past to build some really neat models. I didn't even think of that, but you could come out with like 250 of the Commando editions, or 250 of maybe a patriotic edition that's partnered up with a certain kind of brand or company that Jeep has worked with. I think there's a lot of stuff coming up for the year 2026. I personally cannot wait for some of these colors to come out. I do know how much color influences the decision to purchase something, and I'm very excited for something like the Commando Edition, because I think that's going to be sold out almost instantaneously. So if they keep doing things like that, where they're getting the brand back, where they're pushing more business into the Jeep brand and listening to the audience, I think we're up for a very interesting next 12 months, not only of these releases, but new colors being launched. Goldilocks on the Gladiator, maybe an Earl Grey Gladiator, things like that that are happening that we are going to report on as much as we can. Lots of stuff going on. We have some winter merch that's going to be dropping on the website very soon. A lot of folks have been asking about the jackets that Ryan and I wear, so we're probably going to put those up. So Ryan, look at that. Yeah, it was like a Paris fashion walk the way he just did that. Dirt Road CRED. Look at it's a nice jacket. It's got yellow accents. It's like thin enough to wear. I feel like we're on QVC right now. And for you only, 2 payments of $59.99. You can have that at your. But we got some beanies, we got some new embroidery, and we're ramping up some giveaways. So stay tuned to the website. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been an exhausting 4 days of news. We're doing news, we're getting back from Vegas, we're fulfilling a ton of orders, but we wouldn't do anything else. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Maybe hype this video if you made it to the end, and we'll see you guys on the next one. From Ryan behind the camera and me here talking to you, we want you to get out there and earn yours.